Hello students, welcome to answer writing program. Today we are going to discuss 3 questions which is taken from the GS3 Science and Technology portion. So as we know, the GS3 Science and Technology portion is having topics such as science and technology, developments and their application, and effects in everyday life. So this is the portion of the GS3 with respect to the science and technology. Let's have an overview of our question. So our first question is taken from the topic of quantum dots. The second question is taken from the topic of biocomputer. The third question is taken from the topic of artificial intelligence. So let's start our discussion with our first question, which is, what are quantum dots? Highlight the properties of quantum dots. Also discuss their potential application in various fields. Okay, so first of all, try to understand the demand of the question. The question is asking about quantum dots, what quantum dots actually are, and then it is asking about what properties it is having. So we have to explain the various properties with respect to the quantum dots. Also we have to tell them that due to these properties, what kind of various application it is having. Okay, so we have to discuss about quantum dots, their properties and applications in this particular question. Okay, so before starting this question, let us briefly try to understand the context behind it. So in the year 23, the Nobel Prize in the field of chemistry is being given for the synthesis and discovery of the quantum dots. That is why it was very much in news. Okay, so if we consider matter, we know the behavior or characteristic of a matter is determined by the number of electron and proton that matter is having, and accordingly the properties and the applications are linked. Based on the properties, the various applications the matter will be having. But if we talk about the matter at the nanoscale or the micro scale, the property of a matter changes significantly. So whenever a matter is considered at the nanoscale, the significance of the matter increases because it has a various kind of application at that microscopic level, and that is why the quantum dots are very important, because it is having the semiconducting behavior. It also exhibits quantum mechanical properties. That is why it has a vast number of applications, and that is why it is considered a very revolutionary field, because it has application into the renewable energy, it has application into the field of medicine, it has application into the field of information technology. So this vast number of application makes quantum dots very important. So that was the context which we had discussed briefly. Now come to the question. So here in the question, what we are going to write down an introduction, we are going to describe quantum dots because it's been asked in the question what quantum dots are. Okay, so as we have discussed just now, quantum dots are semiconducting nanocrystals that are typically in the size range of 2 to 10 nanometers. So this is the size of the quantum dots, since these are the nanoparticles, and these exhibit, as we discussed, quantum mechanical properties. So these semiconducting quantum mechanical properties makes it very important. These nanocrystals are often composed of the material like cadmium selenide. So these are the material through which these are made of, cadmium selenide or indium arsenide or other semiconducting compounds, and these possess unique and highly tunable optical and electronic properties. So these are highly tunable, these are having highly tunable properties as well as electronic property. That is why it has a wide range of applications. So that is a holistic introduction we have provided by defining quantum dots and by giving some of the examples of its application. Now come to the body part. In the first part of the body, we are going to discuss about the properties. It has been asked into the question. So what properties quantum dots are having? These are having semiconducting properties. As we have seen, these behave as a semiconductor material because these are the nanoparticles. So that is why it has been used into, it has application into the electronic and optoelectronic application. These also can emit light for extended period of light. So as we know, we have other light emitting material also, for example, light emitting diode. But if we talk about the quantum level, the micro and nanoscale level, the quantum dots are very useful in terms of emitting the light. Okay, so these can emit the light for extended period of time. That is why it is used for biological imaging and tracking, for prolonged whenever prolonged light is desirable. It also have a broad absorption spectrum. What it means, it can not only absorb the visible light which is coming, but it can also absorb the ultraviolet light also. That is why it has a broader absorption spectrum, which used for the photovoltaic purpose also. We'll be seeing in application part that it can use along with the solar panel, where it can enhance the efficiency of the solar panels. It also have narrow emission spectrum, so it has a broad absorption spectrum while it have a narrow spectrum of emission, which makes it much more efficient in terms of vibrating specific kind of lights. That is why it used for the special display. Okay. And also it has quantum confinement effect. What quantum confinement effect is? Quantum confinement means when electrons and hole are confined within a specific or within a defined level of energy, and that defined level of energy is known as a discrete energy level. So these discrete level of energy, what importance of these discrete level of energy are having? Because of that, they can contribute to their size dependent optical and electronic properties. So whenever we have different level of energy and we want to emit the energy through that, they can have different application associated with it. That is the very important property of these quantum dot are that they are have quantum confinement effect. So these were the some of the properties which we have discussed. Now come to the second part of the body. So as we know, whatever properties are there in the quantum dots, these will be associated with the sum of the application. So based on the property only, the application parts come into the picture. So what different application of the quantum dots we are having? Display technology. As we have seen, these can emit a vibrant and very specific kind of colors. That is why it used for the different kind of display. So it used for the display technology such as LED lamps, television screen, by emitting clear and vibrant light, because it is having a narrow emission spectrum. Okay. The second very important point is related to the medical imaging. What medical imaging is? Medical imaging can be also called as biological imaging, cellular or molecular level imaging, where we inject the quantum dot into the body, and if some particular surgery is going to be performed, we can see that particular tissue which we want to remove with the help of quantum dots. So it can guide out into the procedure of the surgery, and it is also having low toxicity level. So because of that, it can put out into the body, and it can be used for the targeted drug delivery, because it can guide us which tissue or which cell we want to give the targeted delivery with the help of quantum dots. It also having optical properties, because its vibrant and well-defined color can be used for the vibrant kind of display where we have a specific kind of need. For example, QLED TVs. Flexible electronics, so it has a semiconducting properties. Because of these wide range of semiconducting properties, it is used for the various kind of electronic application. And also one important point which we have to consider related to the quantum dot, it also exhibit high electron mobility and tunable energy level. So these high electron mobility and tunability make it very important for a specific kind of electronic devices. Other would be slimmer solar cells. So what these slimmer solar cells are? As we know that India and across the globe, we are trying to promote the use of the renewable energy in general and solar energy in particular. So this photovoltaic effect or these solar panels are limited in terms of efficiency. But if we use the quantum dots along with the solar panel, it can efficiently, because it has it can have the capability to absorb a wide range of light. As we have seen visible, along with the that it can absorb the ultraviolet light also. That is why it is much more efficient in terms of absorbing the light, and that is why it can improve the energy level into the solar cell. It can also use along with the sensors, because it can detect the chemical and biomolecule. Thus it makes it as a very good sensor also. As a sensor, it can have n number of application. It also can be used for encrypted quantum communication. So in the information technology, in the field of communication, if we want to do the secure communication, it can use in the form of qubits, and then it can be utilized for the information technology also. So as we have seen, it can be used for encrypted quantum computing also, and quantum communication also. So in terms of quantum qubits, it can be used, and most importantly, it can use for the environmental application also. So it can be efficiently, it can be used for chemical reaction. So it is we have to understand one thing, like how it can be used for environmental uses, fuel cells and water purification. Quantum dots are very important. If we talk about chemical reaction, it can efficiently work as a catalyst for those chemical reaction. And if we want to do environmental remediation, and we want to do pollution remediation, we want to if there is a site which is impacted by the pollution, maybe water related site, or some of the other pollution related site, we can increase the pace of the reaction which are going on of bioremediation, and there it can be used, quantum dot can be used to enhance that that reaction, and then it can efficiently work as a pollution removal process. So it can be used in fuel cell also, because it can work as a catalyst in those fuel cell, and also for water purification, as we have seen in terms of environmental uses also. So these are the few applications which we are having. Now come to the conclusion. Here in conclusion, we can write down the usefulness of the quantum dot. So it is having a wide range of application which I have seen, and we can tell that these are quantum dots are ultra small semiconductor particle which have unique properties. So it can be used in n number of field, as we have seen the field of medicine, renewable energy, information technology, communication. Because of these wide range of application, R&D is need to be done into the field of quantum dots, so that we can suitably use this technique with respect to the coming and evolutionary traits in the future. So this is the holistic conclusion we can provide in our answer. Now come to the model answer. In model answer, in the introduction, we have defined what actually quantum dots are and how it is made of. Then we have written down the properties of the quantum dots, that quantum confinement effect is there. It is having the capability of broad absorption, and after that we have written down narrow emission spectrum. Now in the application part, we have written it can be used for TV displays, flexible electronic properties, make it very important for different various devices with respect to the semiconductor, and we can use it in quantum communication, and then we have provided a conclusion. Now let us discuss our second question, which is, what do you understand by biocomputers? Discuss the various opportunities in this technology. Okay, so first of all, try to understand the demand of the question. The first part is asking about what biocomputers are. So we have to tell them what biocomputer means to us, what biocomputers actually are. And in the second part, we have to write down various application or various opportunities with respect to the biocomputers. That is the demand of the question. Okay. So before starting this question, let us try to understand the context behind it. Okay. Let us try to understand what normal computer is. Okay, so normal computer which we see is made of a CPU which do the processing. If we give input, so this is the input which we can give with the help of keyboard or mouse, anything. Okay, so we give a input and we get a output. Okay, we get a output on the screen or monitor. Suppose if we want to do some computation related work. Okay, so this CPU, central processing unit, will do the computation, will do the calculation, and output will be shown on the screen. And this CPU is made of logics. Okay, so there will be logics which will provide us the output, okay, in terms of the result. So this is the basic functioning of a computer. Okay, now we have seen the functioning of a normal computer. On the similar line, what scientists try to do, they have tried to produce a miniature brain. Okay, so this miniature brain, what it is nothing but they have taken the stem cell. Okay, as we know, stem cells are having property through which we can make it into some other kind of cell. So these stem cells has been actually changed to the human brain cell. Okay, and as we know, and the size of this human brain is miniature. Since it is a miniature brain, it is 4 mm in size. Okay, now this 4 mm size of brain, as we know, brain cells are made of neurons. Okay, neurons are nothing but the cell only, and this 4 mm cell, 4 mm miniature brain is trying to understand if we are providing input. So human brain also takes input. Okay, so sensory, see, if we touch something or if we see something, all these information get processed through our brain. Okay, so it also receives continuously input, and it do the processing of these all information, and it provides some of the output. Okay, so what scientists are trying to do with the help of this miniature brain, they are trying to understand how human brain do functioning. Okay, how we have these cognitive behavior, cognitive learning with respect to the different kind of processes going around out, how we learn, how our brain functions with respect to the different drugs. Suppose some medicine is provided, some brain is having some kind of issues. Okay, then if some medicine is provided to that particular organ, how it behave, how it reacts. So it is nothing but we are trying to understand through this brain, this miniature brain, how human behaves, how human brain behaves, how cognitive and learning abilities are there, and how neurons reacts with respect to the different drug treatment. So that is the concept, and it has been developed recently, this miniature brain, which is having size of 4 mm as we have seen. Now suppose if this particular brain is this miniature brain, we have capability to develop it to the real size of human brain. So as we know, the human brain is made of around 21 to 25 billion neuron, which is like up. It is a very up. It might take a lot of time, but in future we want to scale it up to the human brain, and we want to understand what human brain is having, what kind of capabilities of this human brain is having with respect to the different size, different type of inputs, and how it behaves in terms of output. And we want to capture this data, we want to process this information with the help of big data and other machine learning, artificial intelligence thing, so that we can understand whether human brain is this kind of human brain which we have lab grown, which is having properties, different kind of properties, can solve the complex problem. So we use modern computer for solving different kind of complex problems, algorithm. Does this have that capability, and how cognitive and learning abilities is being developed and processed by this brain? So that is the basic purpose of the biocomputers. So this is nothing. Later on it will evolve into the biocomputers, and we can also call it as the field of organoid intelligence. As we know, we have artificial intelligence, machine learning. This particular thing, since it is evolved from the organ, this is the human organ only, brain, so it will be known as the organoid intelligence. In the field of intelligence, it is known as the organoid intelligence. And this particular system, this particular thing is nothing but the biocomputer. Okay, so that is the context. Now come to the demand of our question. So in the question, how we are going to deal with this particular question, let us try to see. So here in the introduction, you can do one thing, you can define the biocomputer and you can provide some of the context. Okay, so what biocomputer is? It involves connecting 3D brain cultivated in lab. So it is cultured in lab. We have seen that miniature brain is cultured into the lab to real world sensors and input output devices when it is connected with different input and output devices, and it involves technology which aims to leverage the computational capability of brain to gain insight into the biological underpinnings of human cognition, learning and diverse neurological disorders. So it want to understand how we have developed the cognition and learning skills, and if at all, if we are having some disorder related to the neurological disorder, how it is reacting. Okay, so this we have already seen. You can also provide the context that how the miniature brain is being developed into the lab, and we are trying to capture the information through it. Now let us come to the body part. Here, as we know, in the body they are trying to ask about what opportunities this particular field of biocomputers offer for us. So we can write down the various application or aim with respect to biocomputers. Okay, so we can write down that researchers aim to merge brain organoid, which is made into the lab, as we know, and we want to connect it with the advanced computing techniques so that we can understand that how human brain is functioning, what various cognitive and learning abilities we are having, and if at all some brain or some person is having issue related to the disorders, brain related neurological disorder, how it is having impact with respect to that. Okay, so this is the aim of the biocomputers here, and how it can be utilized, like how we can utilize this with respect to the different technology and techniques, how we can merge it. For example, we can use it into the field of neuroscience and drug development. Okay, so it's brain organoid developed using the stem cells, and then later on it is developed into the brain organoid. We can understand if some brain is having issues related to the Parkinson disease or some of the schizophrenia, some of the neurological issues, how different kind of behaviors are there related to that particular person, how neurons are behaving in that particular brain, and what kind of different input and output we are getting with respect to that particular brain. Okay, brain organoid. And also we are trying to understand if that brain is having some of the neurological issues, if some particular type of drug is delivered to that particular brain, how the neurological behavior or responses we are having with respect to that particular drug, so that we can evolve our drug and pharmaceutical industry in such a way that it can help those people out who are suffering with this that particular type of disease. So it will be helping us out to understand the human brain cognitive behavior, brain related disorder in a much more well defined manner. The other could be comparative studies. Okay, how it is helping us out to do the comparative studies. For example, if the cells are taken from that person who is having healthy brain cell, which means the person is not suffering with respect to the any kind of neurological issues or any kind of disorders related to brain related disorders, behavioral issues is not there, then we can take the brain cell of those person who are suffering with some of the mental issues or some of the brain or neurological issues, and then we can do the comparative study with respect to those particular thing, and then we can understand and conclude the thing in much more reliable way. We will be having a huge set of data which will help us out to design our medicines and intervention in a much more planned and applicable way. The most important thing would be related to the complex information technology. So we know human brain is having a lot of capabilities and capacity. It can do the computation as we are doing with the help of computers. Nowadays the modern computers are having memory capturing, the capturing is there, the processing also is there with related to the big data, Hadoop kind of thing, data analytics is there. So modern computers are all doing all those things, but we know human brain is also having a lot of capabilities. It can store the data, it can process the complex data, and it can process the complex data in a much more defined way, much more efficient way. So we also want to understand how complex information processing can be done with the help of human brain. So as we know, the human brain can outshine the machines at presently we are having with respect to the processing of the complex information. And we want to understand if we are having that organoid human intelligence, or you can just call it as organoid intelligence, these biocomputers, how they are able to do the calculation of complex information or complex problem. So we also want to understand, and we in future want to utilize that for solving the complex problem. So that is the opportunity these field of biocomputer organoid intelligence throughout SS. Now come to the conclusion part. What we can write down in this particular kind of question? What we can write down in conclusion? We can write down what limitation actually we are having presently and how we can overcome and we can utilize this particular field of biocomputer in a much more efficient way. Okay, as we know, at this point of time, whatever brain organoid we have produced, it is very small in size, and we know the human brain, if you actually want to see the capacity and capability of a human brain, then we have to scale it up. Okay, we have to scale it up, because human brain is made of around roughly around 21 to 25 billion neurons. So that is a huge structure, and it will require a lot of efforts because it is not easy to scale it up to that level. So that is scaling up it in an issue, and we have to do that. The second thing is big data infrastructure is required, because see, the brain which is processing the information, doing the processing of the information, we require to capture this particular information somewhere. Okay, right now we are doing with the help of machines. So write down in the modern computers, we know we have big data, Hadoop kind of thing, which are doing the processing of the data. Okay, data mining is there. All those emerging fields are there with respect to the modern computer. But if we want to process this data which is produced with the human brain, we have to produce the capability with respect to the brain, how we are going to capture this information. So this is going to generate a very large amount of data, because neural recordings will be there, how neurons are behaving, how neurons are responding with respect to the different kind of information. So we have this storage of data, this capture of data is again an issue. The other would be microfluidic system, because see, if this kind of brain cells are there, then we know these will get generated and then it will get destroyed also. So how we are going to transport oxygen, nutrients, and when the waste is produced, how we are going to do safe disposal of those particular things, that's a very important concern. And also ethical issues are also there, because see, ultimately it is a human brain made of human tissues. So how we are going to utilize it, the other ethical issues would be come up in upcoming time. So to utilize this field, to utilize the potential of the biocomputer, we have to scale it up. We have to have a modern processing information related thing, and also we have to have ethical issues. So these are the challenges which we are having, and we have to provide a solution to it. Then only we can utilize the field of biocomputer in a much more efficient way. So this can be written down in our conclusion, how to utilize these particular challenges, how to overcome these challenges, so that we can able to utilize the potential. Okay, so now let us go through our model answer. Here in the model answer, we have defined or give the information related to the biocomputers, and what is the latest context is that we have a lab grown miniature brain. Then we have defined mechanism behind the biocomputers, how it function. Then how or different applications or opportunities it can provide related to the complex processing, related to the comparative study and neuroscience and drug related delivery. And then we have put for way forward how the problems related to it are there and how we can overcome it. So that will provide a holistic conclusion. Now let us discuss our third question, which is, what are the various applications artificial intelligence is having in the field of education? Okay, so the first part is asking about artificial intelligence and its link related to the education. And in the next part of the question, they are asking, also discuss its potential effects in transforming the learning experience in the field of education. Okay, so let us try to understand the demand of the question before attempting the question. The question is having two specific demand. First one is they have targeting that artificial intelligence is having revolutionized the field of education. We all know. So they are targeting the application related to artificial intelligence, specifically related to the field of education. What application we can have with respect to the education of artificial intelligence, we have to put it out, we have to discuss about it. And in the second part of question, we have to provide what potential effects it's having. It might be having the positive one, the impact or effects might be negative one. So we have to write down the potential impact or effect of the artificial intelligence with respect to the education field. Okay, so this is the demand of the question. Before attempting this question, let us try to understand the background behind it. See, artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the field of education. Okay, so earlier what method of education we were having, like physical infrastructure of the classes we have to produce, we have to have the teachers to provide the information and knowledge transferring with respect to the different streams. Now artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the field. How we can automate the system related to the grading, related to the attendance, related to the different curriculum with the help of artificial intelligence. So the areas where the education was not available earlier, through the satellite classes, this education can be provided to the remote areas. So now education is becoming much more affordable and accessible if we are able to harness the potential of the artificial intelligence. Also, different streams and different students, the different students are having different kind of pace. So we can design the course and curriculum in such a way it is tailor made with respect to the need of the student. So this is something which was not available earlier for us students. Now it is becoming available to the student related to education. That is why artificial intelligence is considered as a revolutionary field. In the field of education, it is going to provide a lot of changes which we have to discuss in this particular question. Okay. So let us understand the introduction of this question, how we are going to write down the introduction for this question. So we can define the artificial intelligence, what artificial intelligence is and how it is impacting the field of education. Okay. What artificial intelligence is? It is the simulation of human intelligence processes such as learning, the acquisition of knowledge to capture the information and then to process it, and reasoning, how based on that information, based on that particular piece of information you are reacting or responding, that is also artificial intelligence. And then to have a defined conclusion based on that based on that information which you have processed. And also it is having a mechanism when you are not responding in the right way, or if you are doing some of the mistakes, you can self-correct yourself also. So this is kind of human intelligence now which is providing to the machine also, and specifically computer and different systems, and that is known as the artificial intelligence, the human-like intelligence provided to the machine so that they can take the information, process it, react it and self-correct it. And this is going to, as we have discussed briefly, that it is going to revolutionize the field of education, which we will be discussing into the body part. Okay, so that is the introduction, you can provide it. Here in the body, we are going to write down the application of the artificial intelligence. So, intelligent tutoring system and personalized learning experience we can provide. As we know that different students are having different kind of pace, okay, and the different student might be good in different subjects. So if we are providing information in a physical class, it becomes difficult for a teacher to change the pace according to the need of the different student. But if we are providing information or knowledge through the help of artificial intelligence, it can automate itself requiring the need of the student. Suppose if a student is a good in humanities subject but having difficulty related to mathematics and science, then the curriculum can be designed in such a way that that student is having easiness related to that subject, maths or science. Similarly, the program can be designed based on the response of the student. If a student's response is different related to different subject or different topic, the curriculum of artificial intelligence can be automated and can be self-corrected and self-designed, which is not possible in the case of physical education easily. So this adaptive education can be provided, as we have seen different kind of boxes like Dream Box, learning utilization. AI is having tailored made application which can adopt the technique related to the requirement of the students. Along with it, it is having automated grading system. See, right now a lot of energy of the teachers get wasted in the mundane kind of thing. For example, taking attendance, taking the grading of the students, providing the curriculum, etc. Now with the help of artificial intelligence, these all mundane things of day-to-day requirement like attendance taking, designing the curriculum, taking the test of the student and correcting, based on that the correction and the improvement kind of suggestion can be provided with the help of artificial intelligence. Thus it can revolutionize the field of these kind of things, so the teacher can invest their time in much more qualitative and productive things. Now, as we have seen, what could be the application of the artificial intelligence is, we can discuss about the potential effect. So the artificial intelligence are having some of the very important things, some of the very important positive things, but it is also having some of the negative things. So let us first try to understand what positive effects of the field of AI having. Better educational outcome. As we have seen, the programs are tailor-made, so it can improve the quality of learning of a student. It can improve the learning ability of a student, thus the outcome of a student's learning can be enhanced. Also, it can enhance the engagement. The curriculum can be designed in such a way according to the need of the different kind of student, according to their age and learning capabilities. The program can be designed which will enhance the engagement of the student, because it will become much more interactive. So it can enhance the engagement. It can make the education affordable and as well as accessible. Affordable because those students who are living into the rural area or those kind of difficult terrain, remote areas where the education is not available or the number of the teachers is less, it can provide the education there also. Also, the kind of physical infrastructure is required for the classes, it can reduce the cost of that if we are able to provide the virtual library kind of thing. So it will make the education affordable also, along with it accessible also. These are the potential benefits. Now let us discuss some of the negative effects of the artificial intelligence. As we all know, there are some disadvantage or some of the fear we are having related to the artificial intelligence. For example, limitation in teaching effectiveness. See, the kind of physical interaction, like the presence of a teacher is there into the class, it provides a kind of emotional support to the students, because there is a feeling of empathy related to the teacher and student relation. So these artificial intelligence designed curriculum sometimes lacks the understanding and empathy of crucial effective learning method. So that is the very important aspect which we have to keep into the mind. We cannot deny the importance of the physical teacher which is having related to the student. So the emotional disconnect might be there, because continuously screen time may emotionally impact the health of the students. Also, mental health can also be impacted. At times, the care and support system of the teachers and parents might be missing. So that is also a disadvantage of the artificial intelligence. And bias and fairness, that is also an important point, because see, these artificial intelligence based systems are designed by human only, because we know AI, artificial intelligence, is having modules, and these modules are designed by human only. So if suppose some module is designed in such a way, it is having bias with respect to the specific community or specific group of people, that artificially designed intelligent based system, artificially designed system might having that biases, and because of that it might impact negatively to the group of students. So these are the disadvantages we might be having related to the artificial intelligence based learning system. Now conclude it. Now come to the conclusion and link it with the SDG. As we know, SDG 4 is to provide affordable and accessible education to all across the globe, and artificial intelligence is having that potential to provide the education. It is inclusive also, equitable also, and equity also in terms of education to all. So artificial intelligence based system is having the capability to provide education to all those who are till this point of time they were not having affordability and accessibility. So we have to design policy in such a way it is having the responsible and transparent use of artificial intelligence. Then we can fulfill the SDG 4, where the affordable and accessible education is provided along with the inclusiveness of all. So that was the conclusion for our answer. Let us go through the model answer. In the model answer, in introduction, we have provided what artificial intelligence is. So we have defined artificial intelligence, then we linked it with the education. So here in the question, it was asked what application AI is having. We have given the different application, like intelligence tutoring is there. Along with it, it is adopting education methods can be provided. Automatic grading can be provided so that teacher can easily check the score of the student. Then positive effects we have discussed, and some of the negative effects such as human or emotional disconnect would be there, which may not have the element of empathy. And then we have linked it up with SDG 4. That was our conclusion. So that is what we had for today's discussion. Thank you very much for the discussion. Have a great day.